Hello guys, it's Nika. I'm back. Do you guys remember me from my old video? My old 2 channels that I got banned? So we're gonna try to keep this one YouTube algorithm friendly. I have been gone for what seems like forever, but maybe it's only been 1 year. I can't remember what the first channel was banned for, but I do remember that the second one was because I kept talking about the VAX. Can't have an opinion anymore. Anyway, I had started this new channel a while ago, but I just was unsure in what direction I wanted to go in. So yeah, I hadn't really been uploading anything. I mean, the channel's been up, but I haven't uploaded. So finally, today, as I'm having my breakfast, enjoying my morning cup of joe, guess what pops up? Guess what pops up on my YouTube? It is none other than the case of Bryan Kohberger. Somehow, some way, I had managed not to hear about this. I had no clue what this was about. And I figured I wanted to share my input. And the reason is that it's for me, it's very heartbreaking. For those of you guys who are coming from my old channel, you know that I have 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's in psychology. I did graduate summa cum laude, which means 4.0 GPA, which means I'm smart, but you guys already knew that. Anyway, it is extremely disappointing to see the failures of our justice system, and I am not letting you know what I think about this case as far as Bryan being guilty or not. You guys can come to your own conclusions. But the fact of the matter is that we are emotional beings. And for most people, cases such as this one where 3 girls and a guy have been slaughtered at a sorority, at a college town, it's very emotional. And most people don't know how to distance themselves from that, meaning they get way too emotionally involved with the first piece of news story that they read, that they hear, without actually doing any of their own research, of their own investigation. They just, hear a story and run with it. And of course, the stories that get the most views are the ones that are usually extremely biased and sensationalized, and they are sensationalized for a reason, right? And for me, it's heartbreaking because for those of you guys who know me, you know that I was in the military, and I went in there because I wanted to serve my country. I know that sounds cheesy, but I am actually very proud of our country and the things that we stand for, although it doesn't always play out in the real world. And one example of that is when we are talking about innocent until proven guilty. In the case of Bryan Kohberger, I'm going to call him BK for short from now on. He has been guilty until proven innocent, basically. And the reason I say that is because I pulled the affidavit from the government site. Anyone can pull it. It's online. If you know how to use Google, you can find it. And I'm looking at the type of evidence that they have, because I don't like going to news stories, because even psychologists, and this bothers me a lot, even psychologists are trying to analyze, his behavior, his eye contact or lack of eye contact, and coming to a conclusion. I mean, just the bias that psychologists are showing, it to me is disgusting. It's appalling. It's disturbing. The fact that somebody with a degree, I have a degree in psychology, doesn't mean that you can just read someone 100% by looking at 30 seconds of a clip of Bryan where he's clenching his jaw. And in one of the short clips I saw in a famous news outlet was a psychologist looking at Bryan. He's like clenching this part of his jaw. And she says, you see that little muscle right there? You see how it's twitching? That means he's guilty. That we are looking at a demon. Bitch, what? What? You're saying that this man is guilty because he's clenching his freaking face? And I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of BK. And I think he's screwed. I feel for him because he doesn't have, in my opinion at the moment, he doesn't have a chance. He doesn't stand a chance. I mean, the media has just turned this story. And once the media has a story and runs with it, I mean, good luck getting it off the internet. That is a narrative that takes a hold of the population. And that is very difficult to come back from, especially because this case has gone out to other countries. I mean, this is a worldwide case. People are paying attention worldwide. So when you have a lady, PhD, who supposedly can tell that he's guilty because he clenched his jaw, you know how many times I would have been in jail or God knows what because I've clenched my jaw when I was in a mood or whatever? Yeah, a lot. People do things for different reasons. And the reason I say that he's basically screwed is because in this video where he's clenching his jaw out of nervousness, or I don't know, maybe he was chewing something, probably nervousness. And you don't have to be nervous because you did it. You can be nervous because you're in a damn courtroom in front of a judge. Judge is his name. This all sounds so fictitious. It all sounds made up to me, but yeah, that's his name, Judge. I'm just gonna giggle like a schoolgirl every time I hear that. It's just funny to me, Judge. But when you see other sources of news, it's the complete opposite. You know, in videos where KB is very still, he's very nonchalant, comes across so in a nonchalant manner. He looks cool, calm, collected, like he's paying attention to what's going on. You then hear another psychologist trying to break down his body language and saying, he's a psychopath, he's a serial killer. You can tell because look at him, no emotion. So what is the man supposed to do? Again, I'm not saying he did it or he did not. I'm just saying that to me, this is appalling because especially somebody who served in the military and you're going out there to fight, potentially fight or get deployed or go to do whatever to stand up for a country that you believe in and the rights that we believe in. And then you see something like that where the man isn't given an opportunity to have a fighting chance. He doesn't. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just how I see it at the moment. He's screwed. And earlier today, I saw that his current lawyer apparently also has ties to one of the girls that was slaughtered. She was like friends or had some ties. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Had ties with the mother of the slaughtered child. Now, I'm not saying she's not able to mentally distance herself. She might be able to. But I'm just saying, if that was me, if I was BK and I knew that, I would not want her to be my lawyer. Because I feel like you do not have my best interest at heart. You don't. You may not. And I'm not going to take that risk. So she knows what, maybe she is. Maybe she's just able to compartmentalize everything. For me, that would be very difficult to do. Depending, of course, how deep the ties were with the mother. It's just appalling to me. What happened to to having an equal opportunity, to having a fighting chance. And I know people are going to hate me for this because majority of Americans always run with the narrative, the first one they hear, the one that's taken over the news media. And that's the story. They hear it once and they stick to it. You need to question things. You need to do background searches. You need to look deeper. Once you start looking deeper, once you start following the money, once you start discovering those hidden stories, these girls, their parents were involved in massive drug busts, some of the largest drug busts in the world. Are we just going to pretend that, there's no way in hell that it could have been maybe a drug deal gone wrong? It's funny how they haven't mentioned that in the news outlets, but all the people of Moscow, Idaho know that this house was a drug house. There isn't enough evidence to just say this guy is getting the death penalty. And that's what's scary, because I put myself in the shoes of BK and think, imagine if I was a single female that lived alone and I had no alibi and I was just driving around at night because I couldn't sleep, because I have done that, guys. I had insomnia for the longest time when I was in the military, and I would do dumb shit like drive by myself in the middle of the night for hours and hours. Before I went to talk to somebody, why can't I sleep? So another thing that bothers me is that BK, I think like they've painted him as this, incel, socially awkward, he's a virgin, this and that. We don't know that. This is all speculation. We don't know if he was an incel. I think personally that he has a very intense look in his eyes. And honestly, I get that same vibe, or people tell me I give off that vibe. I am very intense, especially in person. And I'm also very good at reading body language. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying some of my colleagues, when I'm having a conversation with them and the eye contact is so intense, it kind of freaks them out a little bit. I think it's not common to have people that are this intense. Part of my intensity is due to my ADHD, because again, I feel like I have this need to hyper focus, because if I don't, I will zone out so I need to be very there. And for me, that means making intense eye contact, which again freaks people out. So just because somebody is awkward, or just because somebody is, high IQ, I think BK is, doesn't mean that they did something. Okay, I can be socially awkward as well. Just funny, because when I'm talking to camera, it doesn't feel that way. But in person, I am kind of weird. I'm just a little bit odd. And again, it's the intensity. It's for me, it's very difficult. And I think part of that has to be the IQ thing. It's very difficult to make small talk with people, with my coworkers, like, oh my God, how did you like lunch, or stupid things like that. I have no interest, and it's difficult for me to make small talk. For me, it's like all or nothing. I need to be in a conversation that is mentally stimulating for me to seem normal, if that makes any sense. Nonetheless, I analyzed KB in several videos now, as most of them being very short clips. To me, as somebody who has, graduated with 2 psych degrees, 4.0, and trying to be not biased if he did the murders or not, I see somebody who is on the spectrum, autism spectrum disorder. And I think that's why a lot of the videos that are being watched and rated by random YouTubers, most people don't actually have a psychology background. They just learn random psych fun facts on YouTube. But people talking about Bryan's demeanor, don't have this background. So they see, oh, he's so weird. He's so nonchalant. Look at him. He can't even make any facial expressions. He's cold, cruel, calculating. And I'm just staring and I'm like, no, to me, this guy just looks like he's on the spectrum. You know, as we like to call, as we psychologists like to call, high functioning. Okay, that just means he's intelligent and that he can take care of himself, basically, just to make it simple. So we have an awkward guy, socially awkward, from what the media likes to portray. Doesn't have a lot of facial expressions. Okay. Tomorrow is KB's first trial since this whole thing happened. The murders happened in November 13, 2022, I believe. So it will be interesting to see that. I'm not yet sure if they're actually going to show it on TV, but if they are, I'm going to be analyzing everything. Let me know your comments down in the comment section. I'm curious to know what you think. And I have a feeling I know what you think. But if it's something that you just heard on the media, I don't want to hear it. I actually want to hear from people who know how to not, just be sheeple and follow the narrative. I want comments from people who have their own brain, can act and think on their own, and don't just believe everything they hear. I mean, do your own research, pull court documents, pull the affidavits out, see what actual evidence there is and what failures of the Moscow Police Department took place, which apparently there were many, not to mention the two survivors. That is chilling to me. The fact that two women who were in the house happened to magically survive after seeing supposedly a guy in a ski mask. And you're telling me you didn't call the cops? And you weren't held responsible? You called the cops 12 hours later. You're going to tell me that 10 feet away from where your friends were getting slaughtered, you couldn't hear that? Come on. There's way more to the story. There's a lot people are not saying, and I think a lot of it has to do with the power of these girls' parents, their involvements in drugs, their involvements in law, politicians. KB's professor had ties to the police department. What in the hell is going on? Question things, guys. Don't just run with their narrative, okay? Use your brain. Use it. That's what it's there for. You guys have a good day. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I am praying for Bryan. I'm not praying to, oh my God, I hope he gets out okay. No. I'm praying that he gets a fair trial. I don't care if he did it or not did it. I mean, I have my personal opinions, but my issue is that this case, there's something too damn weird. He's not getting a fair trial. The evidence is whack. The DNA came from Ancestry, or was it 23andMe? Something stupid like that. No. There's something weird going on, guys. Question everything, okay? You guys take care now. Mwah.